Hi, this is Les Picker here. I am a professional landscape, wildlife, and travel photographer, and I do lead trips and tours around the world. Today, we're going to be comparing the Fuji GFX-S model with the Fuji GFX-R model, which recently came out, and hopefully helping you to decide whether the R or the S model is better for your particular photographic needs. I recently did a video right here, you can see it on the link right below, on YouTube, where I really analyzed the pros and cons of this, the GFX-50S right here. And it goes step by step through that whole process. But recently, Fuji released a new model of the GFX, which is known as the GFX-50R instead of the 50S. The one here, as I said, is the 50S. The 50R is lighter than the 50S. It's also priced about $1,500 less. So it's very attractive. It's got an attractive price point. And the question is, should you consider, if you're new to the medium format or you're thinking of moving up to the medium format mirrorless cameras, then one thing you want to think about is, should I consider the 50R or the 50S? So here today I'm going to compare and contrast them and see which you think, so you can get a better idea of which you think you might like better. The specs of the two are very, very similar. They share many things in common, which I'll talk about. But the question is, should you go for one, the S versus the R? My personal opinion, I'll give you right up front, is for my particular needs as a landscape, travel, and a wildlife photographer, at least with sedentary wildlife, because medium format does not have the same capability for fast frame rate that a full frame camera does. But for my particular needs, the S works better. For yours, it may be quite different, especially if you're a street photographer, and I'll get into that in just a moment. So first, let's talk about the things that the R and the S share in common. Well, first thing is they share the same sensor. So you're getting the same 50 megapixel sensor with great dynamic range, and that beautiful tonality and really sweet color gradation. So that's all there. That's all the same in both cameras. The ISO rating is the same for both cameras. They share the same processing engine, the Fuji processing engine, which I particularly enjoy. They both have full HD video. So if you're interested in video, that works. They both share a really good touchscreen, which you can see right here, and so that is a commonality. And they both have really good weather sealing. So the same weather sealing exists in both. So those are the commonalities between the two cameras. There are a couple of others, but they're more minor than major. Let's talk about what some of the differences are. The S version is a very heavy camera. Let's face it. It just is. The R version, which I don't have a model here right now to show you, but I can tell you that it weighs considerably less, about 5 or 6 ounces less. It is slightly wider in the body. So the back here, edge to edge, is wider than the S, which I'm holding, but it is quite a bit lighter. So for those of you, that's why I say for street photography, it might be a lot better for you because it's much more portable and it is lighter. Another difference between the two is that the S version has a very deep grip. If you can see here where I'm holding it right in front of me, the grip on the S is very deep here, as you can see, whereas in the R version it's not quite as deep, and perhaps the Fuji designers decided that since it's lighter, you may not need as deep a grip. So a big difference. The biggest difference of all for me, and I'll get to that, I wanted to get it up front rather than any other, wait till later in this broadcast, is the use of this absolutely marvelous viewfinder. This is what I call an articulated viewfinder, which allows you to use the camera in this way where you can bring it right up to your eye. If you're shooting low to the ground, you're doing a landscape that you want to have objects in the foreground, you don't have to lie on your stomach. You can just get on your knees, look down, and this camera works very well. The R version does not allow, this is by the way an option. In the S camera does not come with it, but it is an option, and I consider it a requirement, not an option. After using this camera for almost 2 years, I can tell you I cannot do without it, and I just can't speak enough positives about this viewfinder. The R version doesn't allow you that option. It doesn't come with it, and you cannot buy it. So for me, that's a deal breaker, frankly. And if you're into landscape and even street photography, I find that this viewfinder is very helpful. Okay, enough about that. The button layout's somewhat different between the S and the R. One of the things I do like about the S here is that it has this D, let me see if I can get that to show you, the D button here that allows you to move the cursor obviously up and down. It also has a joystick that allows you to do the same thing. So if you take a look here, there's a joystick right on the back of the camera. Okay. The D button does something else though that I really like. Fuji allows you to customize the up, down, and sideways buttons. And I'm going to be doing a video, by the way, showing you how I customize my S for my particular needs. But the R does not have that D button manipulator, so that is another difference. The S has a screen, like many DSLRs, that sort of rotates in sort of every direction, including if you want to shoot in a vertically. The R does not allow the vertical movement. It has up and down, sideways, up and down, but not the vertical sideways movement. So that's something I think that you'll have to decide for yourself whether that vertical tilt is important to you. Another deal breaker for me, frankly, between the R and the S is this absolutely wonderful top. I'm seeing if I can get you something without a lot of light refracting on this screen. But this top screen, top LCD screen that the Fuji has, the S model has, which I've talked a lot about in my analysis of the pros and cons of the S model, is really a terrific addition. It does not exist on the R model. So that for me would be a deal breaker because the top LCD has very readable numbers on it. It's very well lit, it's always accessible, and even though I spend most of my time right at the viewfinder, so I can see a lot of things, all the information I need in my viewfinder, when I step away from the camera for a minute, I like to come back and take a quick glance over here at the top LCD screen to make sure my settings are where I want them to be. And if I don't have that, it's kind of an extra pain. I have to go back to the camera and so on. So I think that's just a nice convenience, and it's very customizable. You can put in whatever information you need in that top LCD screen, which I find, quite helpful. Next thing is the battery grip. The S allows you the option of having a battery grip. I do not have one here on this S, but the R doesn't even allow the option of the battery grip should you want it. Some people prefer having the battery grip, which enables them to go longer without having to actually physically change the batteries. To me, it's not a big deal. If you do want it, keep in mind the R does not offer that. Okay? Finally, the last thing I want to talk about is price. The S is a pricey camera. I've talked about this in detail in my video describing the pros and cons of the S. You're going to pay about $6,000 for just the body alone, and the lenses, of course, additional. And all the lenses, by the way, that fit the S will fit the R. So that part. And I know some photographers have both an S and an R, and then they just interchange their lenses. But the R is about $1,500 less than the S, which I think makes it a pretty good deal. It's priced below a lot of upscale, full format, full frame cameras. So it makes it price competitive, if you will. So there are some of the similarities and the differences between the R and the S. I hope you got a look at it and you can make a decision for yourself as to which you prefer. I would prefer the S under any circumstances because of the kind of photography I do. I think I'll stick with the S body. There are rumors that Fuji will be coming out with a higher megapixel camera similar to the S body. And in that case, I think I would stick with it rather than going to the R. However, if I needed a spare body, I might just consider the R. But at this particular point in time, I don't feel the need for that. So there you have it. Any comments you'd like to leave below. I would appreciate it if you enjoyed this video. Leave a like, hit the like button, and also if you'd like also to subscribe to my channel, please do so. If you do that, try hitting the little bell to the right of the subscribe button, and that way you'll be notified of any new videos that come along. And there are several that are in the planning, including how I customize my GFX for my particular shooting needs.